Welcome back to Marvelous Videos. I'm Rylan, and this is 10 ultra-violent and psychotic Joker animated moments where he crossed all limits, explored. The Joker, unlike many villains, is the embodiment of chaos, anarchy, and nihilism. He rejects all forms of authority and seeks to disrupt any established order. The Clown Prince of Crime doesn't care about traditional and socially established notions such as laws, ethics, and morality, but instead, he sees himself as an agent of pure freedom, unencumbered by social norms. Naturally, for someone who dedicates himself to such things, it becomes an everyday task to bring about more anarchy to the world. The Joker himself is not a superhuman per se, but he does manage to corrupt other superheroes and strives to throw them into a dark pit of despair and insanity. I mean, come on, that was his plan all along in Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight, right? He took Gotham's White Knight and turned him into a bloodthirsty criminal. So, in today's video, we will explore the 10 instances from the animated shows and movies where he crossed all limits to come across as an ultra-violent and psychotic villain. Let's begin, shall we? Actually, well, before we get into our explanation, we do have just one very small request. If you like our content, then please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is just one small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thanks. Now, let's begin. Number 1. Joker killed Jason Todd. It becomes really interesting when a supervillain does deeds so damn nefarious that other supervillains condemn them. That was basically what happened when Ra's al Ghul decided to enlist Joker's help because Al Ghul wanted a distraction while he destroyed the major financial districts of Europe. In the 2010 movie Batman Under the Red Hood, the Joker did create quite a distraction for Ra's al Ghul, but he went a bit too far. Joker abducted the second Robin, Jason Todd, and kept him in a warehouse in the Bosnian town of Sarajevo. Aware of his repercussions, Ra's al Ghul immediately regretted his actions and hoped that Batman would save his protege. Batman rushed towards the warehouse while the Joker beat Jason with a crowbar. Honestly, I'm pretty tough on the inside, and emotional scenes have to be quite heavy to affect me. But trust me when I say that this entire sequence when Joker beat Jason Todd left me quite moved. I mean, not only was the Joker beating Jason left, right, and center, but he was actually enjoying it more than I could digest. Furthermore, the fact that Jason was merely a teenager bound in a warehouse with an elderly man torturing him was enough to make anyone extremely uncomfortable. And still worse was Joker's conversation with Jason, in which he elaborated on the way he would beat Jason. The sound department of the film should be lauded for making the beating sound so authentic. I mean, you could hear the extremely real thumping when the crowbar hit Jason. After having his share of sadism, Joker left Todd bound in handcuffs, and yet the young Robin still had some degree of life left in him. Although he couldn't speak or even stand on his feet for that matter, he crawled to the door in the hope of escaping. But of course, Joker had locked him in from the outside. Meanwhile, Batman had almost reached the warehouse, but to Jason's shock and horror, he found a time bomb ticking with just 10 seconds left before the explosion. Jason knew at that moment that he was breathing his last. Just as Batman flung into his bat blade, the time bomb detonated. All Batman could do was retrieve Jason Todd's lifeless body from the rubble that the explosion had left behind. But to make it even worse, what Joker did to Todd affected the young boy even after his death. So, later in the movie, Ra's al Ghul resurrected Jason in the Lazarus Pit, but this drove the boy crazy and hungry for blood, and thus, Joker took another White Knight and turned him into an utter mess. Number 2. Joker killed Lois Lane and Superman's unborn child, as well as 11 million people. In the 2021 movie Injustice, Joker did something even more terrible, something that turned Superman rogue. On Earth 22, Joker and Harley Quinn committed unforgivable crimes, but they crossed a line when they murdered Jimmy Olsen and then abducted a pregnant Lois Lane. But the Joker had a more sinister and elaborate plan up his sleeve. He stole a nuclear weapon and attached it to a heart rate monitor implanted in Lois's chest, which meant that if Lois Lane died, the nuclear weapon would explode. Batman immediately assembled the Justice League to locate Lois and to bring Joker to justice. Flash discovered that Scarecrow was dead in his lab and the fear toxin was missing. However, he fell victim to a trap set by the Joker and perished. Meanwhile, Superman found Joker and Harley hiding in a submarine, but out of nowhere, he got attacked by Doomsday. It was not before long that Batman discovered that the Joker had mixed the fear toxin with kryptonite, causing Superman to mistakenly believe that he was fighting Doomsday, when in reality, he was killing Lois. So Superman threw his super punches on his poor pregnant wife and pushed her into space. Batman alerted Superman of what he was doing, but it was too late for Lois. The nuke attached to Lois's heart detonated, thereby destroying Metropolis and killing 11 million people. So Joker made Superman kill his wife, his unborn child, and 11 million innocent civilians. Joker later realized that he had grown tired of losing to Batman and wanted to use the Man of Steel to achieve his objectives. He had successfully corrupted Superman, the epitome of justice justice and the protector of the law. These unspeakable actions drove Superman to the brink of insanity, causing him to murder the Joker in retaliation, especially considering that murder was something that Superman had forever spoken against. This tragic turn of events led Superman down a dark path of delusional fascism, enforcing peace through fear and brutal force. He became the tyrannical ruler of Earth, killing anyone who dared to oppose him. The Joker's role in these events served as a grim reminder of the dangerous consequences that can arise from even the slightest of disturbances in the delicate balance of power in the world. And as we all know, he loves anarchy. There you have it. Joker turned another ray of hope into another pit of despair. Number 3. Joker once killed an entire audience on television. In part 2 of the film Batman: The Dark Knight Returns, Joker killed the entire audience of a late-night talk show using his Joker toxin. But before we get into how, let me just quickly explain the what. The Joker toxin was a gas created by the Joker, likely synthesized from Scarecrow's fear toxin. This toxin induced uncontrollable laughter in those exposed to it, causing their facial muscles to stretch into an involuntary grin. In non-lethal doses, the effects of the toxin were limited to this physical reaction. However, in lethal cases, excessive laughter could result in the inability to breathe, ultimately leading to their death. Prolonged exposure to the toxin might result in permanent brain damage, which was the case with the Joker himself. Due to years of dedicated abuse, Joker had developed immunity to his own toxin. So in this movie, Joker convinced Harvey Dent's psychologist, Bartholomew Wolper, to help him get onto a talk show where the Clown Prince of Crime could put his side on the story and possibly give justifications for the 600+ murders that he had committed. But clearly, the Joker was in no mood to be accepted by the public as an innocent figure, so he took a mug and killed Wolper with it before a couple of robots filled the studio with Joker toxin. The toxin took effect without any lag and put a smile on the faces of everyone present at the studio. Unfortunately enough, no one lived to tell the tale, and Joker soon escaped. Number 4. Joker made Batman kill him to break his code of not killing anyone. In the same feature as the previous entry, Batman figured that Joker must be hiding at the nearby fairgrounds after the massacre at the studio. He pursued the Captain Clown, who killed numerous people in a bid to escape. The poor bystanders didn't know what hit them until it was too late. But Gotham's watchful protector managed to corner his archenemy in a tunnel. Joker had been partially blinded by a batarang, but he didn't flinch a muscle. It was as if nothing had happened to him. This was because Joker had an extremely high threshold of pain, thanks to years of dedicated abuse of various toxins. Batman felt that all the murders Joker had committed throughout the years actually took place because Batman allowed the Joker to live, owing to the no-killing motto that Batman had followed so ardently. Joker understood that Batman had never lost control. Thus, more than killing people, it would give the Joker a sense of victory if Batman ever lost his cool. So Joker taunted Batman and stabbed him repeatedly. In the end, Batman slammed Joker, paralyzing his body from the neck down. But this event was witnessed by a couple of civilians who had come to the love tunnel for a romantic evening. They screamed and ran outside. Joker knew that now there were witnesses, and Batman would finally be considered a villain, a monster just like Joker was. So, in a desperate attempt to have the last laugh, Joker twisted his neck and committed suicide. Batman's adherence to his no-killing motto allowed the Joker to continue his reign of terror, causing countless deaths and destruction. But when Batman finally did take action and paralyze the Joker, he became the target of public scrutiny and judgment. This essentially blurs the line between traditional notions of good and evil, right and wrong. I guess this was Joker's greatest achievement, corrupting the Batman himself. Number 5. Joker tortured Ethan Bennett, which ended in Ethan becoming Clayface. In the 12th episode of The Batman, Joker picked up one of Bruce Wayne's closest friends, Ethan Bennett, and turned him into a monster. In Gotham City, the Joker created a new substance called Joker Putty, which could alter the texture of any surface. He used it to warp artifacts and landmarks in his image. Although Batman was hot on Joker's trail, he missed the Clown Prince of Crime at every corner. Bruce then revealed his secret identity to his best friend to gain an ally in his fight against the city's underworld. This led to a showdown between the Joker, Batman, and officers Bennett and Yin. But unfortunately for Bennett, he inhaled fumes from a broken canister of the Joker Putty. Furthermore, Joker kidnapped Bennett and subjected him to intense psychological trauma, which ultimately caused Bennett to go wild and villainous. However, Joker was later captured, and Bennett was freed from the Joker's clutches. But the officer had inhaled the fumes, right? Bennett received a call from Bruce Wayne to discuss important matters. While at home, Bennett was feeling ill and looked into the bathroom mirror only to see his skin melting due to inhaling the Joker Putty fumes. Bennett was just doing his job as a police officer when he was exposed to the substance. Joker's desire to remake artifacts and landmarks in his own image was simply his way of imposing his will on the world to make it conform to his own twisted vision. And look where it got poor Bennett. The judge released Bennett, but ordered that he should be subjected to regular chemical tests to ensure that he did not turn into Clayface and chose mind over body. 6. Joker crippled Barbara Gordon and tortured Jim to make him lose sanity. It's really difficult to tell which of Joker's many crimes are the worst and which ones are less bad. Nevertheless, in Batman's The Killing Joke, the Clown Prince of Crime went to great extents to prove one simple point, that one bad day was enough to turn anyone crazy. And to prove this, he chose Commissioner Gordon as his subject. So, in this movie, Barbara Gordon worked night shifts as Batgirl alongside Batman. Although she failed to stop a robbery, she and Batman did stop one of the robbers. This encounter piqued the interest of Paris France, the nephew of a mob boss and the head of the robbers. His increasingly dangerous obsession with Barbara Gordon made Batman retire Batgirl on the grounds that she would someday become fascinated and tempted to kill her criminal enemies. And it was not before long that Batman's words came true, when she almost killed Franz during an encounter. She retired herself from her adventures, but that didn't mean that she was no more of a person of interest to the Joker. Joker arrived at the Gordon residence when Jim was reminiscing about the first time he met the Joker. In fact, Barbara recalled how she was petrified of the Clown Prince's description as a child. They heard their doorbell ring, and Barbara went to open the door, only to relive her childhood fear. Joker was standing right in front of her, pointing a gun at her. He shot her. The impact threw her back, and she landed on the table. He ordered his thugs to beat Jim and take him to an abandoned warehouse, but the Joker didn't stop there. He told Jim how his daughter had been paralyzed forever and would never be able to walk again. Furthermore, he then started to strip Barbara and took her naked pictures, which he later showed to Jim Gordon in a bid to drive him insane. Overall, Joker's actions had a significant impact on Barbara's life, both physically and psychologically. Being stripped of her ability to move and perform simple tasks was bound to fill her with feelings of frustration, anger, and depression. And then there was the whole naked pictures thing while she was still in immense pain. He basically ruined her life. I mean, it would be extremely difficult for a normal person to even imagine being disabled. Think of the impact it had on Batgirl. Talk about PTSD. Number 7. Joker tortured Tim Drake until he became Joker Jr. About 35 years before the events of Batman Beyond, Dick Grayson stopped being Nightwing, and Batman chose Tim Drake as Robin. Furthermore, it was not before long that the young superhero got kidnapped by the Joker. Despite a vigorous search op by Batman, Tim was nowhere to be found until Joker gave Batman a clue. Batman reached the abandoned original Arkham Asylum building where Tim was being kept. So Joker and Harley had been feeling a bit old and wanted to start a family. They didn't want to go through the joy of childbirth and the legal process of adoption. More like they legally couldn't adopt, given their charming mental state. So they simply decided to borrow one of Batman's spare super kids. Yeah, you heard that right. They brainwashed and disfigured poor Tim, turning him into a mini Joker, their own son. They even gave him the nickname of Joker Jr. Joker revealed to Batman how he tortured Tim, but told Batman that he should be proud of the resilience that Tim showed, while the shocks and serums did their work. In the end, Joker asked Tim to kill Batman, but the brainwashed Superboy warred with himself. Finally, Tim shot Joker right in the heart, before experiencing a complete mental breakdown. And that was the Joker's final act, where he had the last laugh in many ways, and the physical and mental wounds that Tim suffered never fully healed. The Joker's desire to create a family and pass on his legacy revealed the inherent darkness and depravity that existed within him, and the lengths that he would go to get what he needed. But then again, it is foolish to expect anything remotely moral from this guy, right? His twisted plan was a sign of his complete lack of empathy and disregard for innocent life. In the end, we are glad that Tim shot him in the heart, thus finally ending the menace, at least in the Batman Beyond universe. Number 8. Joker planned to destroy Gotham City with a bomb. In the episode titled Harlequinade from Batman the Animated Series, Joker stole this huge bomb from a bunch of criminals with the intention of leveling down the entirety of Gotham City. The mayor didn't want to evacuate the city because he was not really convinced that the bomb was still in town. Not knowing what to do next and how to find the Clown Prince or his bomb, they enlisted Harley Quinn, who was at Arkham, promising her a full pardon in return for finding Mr. J. After facing several setbacks, the group finally located Joker and his bomb at the mayor's residence, where Joker was keeping the mayor captive. Joker managed to subdue Batman, Robin, and Gordon before trying to take Harley with him. However, Batman and Robin managed to make Harley change her mind. Joker flew away on his plane, but noticed that the bomb had been disarmed. Joker went crazy and started shooting his plane's machine gun at the bomb, trying to ensure that the bomb went off one way or another. But once again, Harley Quinn stopped Mr. J and saved the day. The fact that he was willing to destroy the entire city is proof of just how crazy he is, and just how great a menace he is to society. I think there are a few supervillains who could go to the extent of genocide, and Joker clearly fits this list. Number 9. Joker poisoned Gotham with his laughing gas. The episode titled The Last Laugh of Batman the Animated Series featured a frightening situation in all of Gotham as its residents went into a prolonged spell of uncontrollable laughter. It all began on April Fool's Day in Gotham when a long flat-bottomed boat, or barge, docked near Gotham with green-colored garbage that emitted a green-colored gas. Piloted by a robotic clown, the gas from the barge quickly entered Gotham City. The first victim was a truck driver who started laughing hysterically after being exposed to the gas, ultimately driving his truck into the river. As more people got exposed, Gotham started to plunge into chaos and anarchy. Meanwhile, Bruce Wayne learned about the chemical attack and found out that prolonged exposure to the gas would leave the victim permanently insane. Well aware that this was the work of the Joker, he began to plan a counterattack. But things quickly spiraled out of hand as Joker and his henchmen went on a shopping spree. Since the civilians could not stop themselves from laughing, they could not stop the Clown Prince of Crime from stealing. To make things worse, Gotham's stock market was on the verge of collapse because all major CEOs were acting like complete fools. Back at Wayne Manor, even Alfred got exposed to the gas. So you see, one simple plan by the Joker led to the collapse of Gotham's stock market, which in turn resulted in a financial crisis, possibly even leading to widespread poverty and unemployment. And then there was the risk of the city's infrastructure failing in a day, as the essential and emergency services had also been impacted by the gas, let alone the psychological trauma and increase in crime rates had Gotham not been rescued by the masked vigilante. Number 10. Joker planned to commit a year's worth of murders on New Year's Eve. In the first episode of the new Batman Adventures, the Joker made a shocking announcement that he won't be killing anyone for a year. But don't get too comfortable, because he was planning something big that very night. The Joker actually planned to make up for all the missed opportunities at killing and wanted to make up for all the murders on New Year's Eve. As was expected, Batman got a tip from Commissioner Gordon about the murder of a scientist named Dr. Erickson, who was working on a powerful sonic weapon that was capable of killing people. Using his detective skills, Batman figured out that the Joker had planned to use the weapon to blow up the New Year's Day countdown at Gotham Square. And it made sense because the event would draw innumerable people in a closed space, perfect for a genocidal bomb blast. So it'd be easy for the Silent Guardian to catch him, right? But that's where things got interesting, because as always, the Joker had a trick up his sleeve. He had gotten a bunch of plastic Joker masks to blend in with the crowd, but Batman was not called the world's greatest detective for nothing, right? He used his batnoculars to spot the Joker playing piano on stage with earmuffs. Instead of going after the Joker directly, Batman and Robin proceeded to take out the Joker's henchmen first, but they were soon caught by the Clown Prince of Crime himself. As the clock ticked to midnight, the Joker was standing next to Batman with a bottle of champagne, gloating over his victory. But Batman was not one to let the Joker have the last laugh. He sprayed the champagne over the controls, causing the bell's pulley to explode, and the falling bell landing directly on the Joker. For someone who seemed like the very manifestation of chaos and nihilism in the purest form, it was natural for them to perceive life as a meaningless joke, something that could easily be taken in a whiff without a second thought. But you have to admit, he started off on a rather darkly humorous note with the whole good news bad news thing. And that, of course, was our list of the worst crimes that Joker has committed. If you wish to add any of your own suggestions to our list, let us know in the comment section below, and we'll take note whenever we make another video on the Joker. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to leave us a like and subscribe to never miss out on any of our videos. Until next time, I'm Rylan. Have a good one and be safe.